Bitcoin would demonetize capital destroying zombies, properties, companies, and commodities. Why are zombies asset bad? Because it incentivizes the wrong type of management, and it actually destroys capital, making the society poorer in the long run. Now, how did all this zombie asset arise? It arises because we have real interest rate less than zero, or another way of saying, inflation rate greater than the interest rate. Let us look at the inflation rate for US for the last 10 years. We have over here the US core inflation rate for the last 10 years is around 2%, and recently is around 6%. Now let us look at the interest rate for the last 10 years. It is around 0.25%. There's a small jump, 0.25, and around 4.5. So if we take the inflation rate minus the interest rate, the real interest rate is about minus 1.75%. Well, with a real interest rate of minus 1.75%, zombies, property, company, and commodities will exist easily. The reason, because let's say all this asset is losing or destroying capital around minus 1.75% every year. But because of inflation of around 2%, nominally the asset actually went up by 0.25%. And the servicing cost or the interest rate of 0.25% is also around 0.25. So this zombies company, properties, and commodities will not be bankrupt, or they will not be insolvent, and they can exist, making the society on the whole poorer in the long run. Okay, now by my estimation, the world real estate is about 400 trillion. The market capital for companies maybe about 100 trillion. For gold is about 10 trillion, and government cash bond about 300 trillion. Bitcoin is about 0.35 trillion. Now we know that the money supply increased by 5% every year. Conservatively, we can look at this chart over here. If we look at this chart over here, the US M2 money supply from 1959 to 2022 is about 60 years of data. And we can see here 1960 5%, 1961 7%, and is for the 2022 is the first time we get negative. I believe if not for the backlash the Fed actually gotten, this will be a much higher number. But if we take the average, a very conservative number will be 5% increase in the money supply. Now, so let's say we have a 5% increase in the money supply, and let's say the interest rate is about maybe 0.5%. Well, because of this, cash and bond will actually lose about 4.5% every year. But we know that real estate is about the zombie real estate, the zombie company, maybe about minus 2%, and gold is about minus 2%. The reason why gold has a negative real return, because the quantity increased by 2% every year. But if you compare it with cash and bond, which is about minus 4.5%, these are this negative or capital destroying asset is even more attractive and easily will be monetized by the increase in the cash and bond. Although cash and bond is losing about 4.5% every year, the value about 4.5% due to the printing, but because of the GDP growth, we can see the GDP growth here. The US GDP growth for the last 60 years, well, if we draw a line here, it's about 3%. So because of that, about 3%, and the increase in the quantity of money supply 5%, we have an inflation of 2%. Although even is losing value, most people does not feel it's too terrible with a 2% 2% decrease in value every year, because but it's not so bad because of the productivity gain from the economy. And because of this, even negative destroying capital destroying zombie asset is being monetized because of this, because here is -4, but compared to this is -4%, and these are just maybe -2%. Money would flow into this. So we have capital destroying asset. We even monetize all this asset. Now we know Bitcoin, although it does not have a positive real yield, but because it's a fixed quantity commodities, it also does not have a negative real yield. That means it's a perfect store of value. What does that mean by that? Let's say if the monetary value of Bitcoin increased by 10 times, the price of the Bitcoin, or the monetary value of each Bitcoin, will increase by 10 times. Or if let's say the value of Bitcoin, the monetary value does not change, the value in the Bitcoin also does not change. But let's say gold, if the monetary value of gold or is not monetized remain the same, the value of gold will actually goes down by 2% per year due to the quantity increase by 2%. How about companies? Let's say this company have a negative 2% or capital destroying 2% per year. So the same thing will happen. The value actually dropped by 2%. So if let's say the monetary value of this company does not change, but every year it will actually drop by 2%. Real estate, the same thing. If no money actually went in, or the market cap remains the same, every year it will, for those zombie real estate, it will drop in value in 2%. Well, we can see all this currently when we have an interest rate increase. All this zombie firm and property actually got into a lot of trouble. Property investor flee as zombie office and building lose tenant. Fund including BlackRock REIT flagship are limiting investor withdrawal. Or over here, zombie firm rise again in Japan with the aid of pandemic loan. Well, this happened when we start printing a lot of money, and we have a real negative interest rate. So what it means is this: because we have so much money or asset which is a negative, gold about 5 trillion is used as a store of value. Well, but because it's losing 2% every year, this gold easily 5 trillion of gold will flow to Bitcoin. How long it takes? Maybe 10 years, 20 years. And Bitcoin will 20x from now. Now, real estate and all these private company, easily 50 trillion for those negative destroying capital asset will actually flow to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will easily 150x from now. Maybe it takes 20, 30 years. So what will happen is Bitcoin will demonetize all these capital destroying zombie properties, company and commodities. Is it good? Yes, it is definitely good for the society, because it does not incentivize the wrong type of management, and it is not a negative drag on our society with all these negative destroying negative capital destroying asset. And now we have a Bitcoin bounty commercial. On 29 November 2022, someone hacked my PC and stole about 62 Bitcoin from my PC. It was during a Skype message. A PDF file was sent to me. I do not know the identity of the person that sent me the PDF file, but unknown to me, it is an MS-DOS masquerading as a PDF file. Once I click on it, it wiped off my Electrum Bitcoin wallet on my PC, and it sent the wallet to the hackers. 3 of my wallet containing about 62 Bitcoin was stolen. You can see the Electrum wallet here, and that the Bitcoin that was stolen. This is the one of the wallet with about 31 Bitcoin. This is the second wallet with about 15.75 Bitcoin, and this is the third wallet with about 15 Bitcoin. You can see here it was stolen on the 29th of November. And here are the blockchain detail of the stolen Bitcoin with the address where the Bitcoin is sent to. For the first one with stolen 15 Bitcoin, this is the URL of the blockchain transaction, and it's stolen and sent to this Bitcoin address with the transaction hash ID here. The second one, 15.75 Bitcoin is stolen. This is the URL of the stolen transaction and sent to the Bitcoin address, this with the transaction hash ID of this. And another 31 Bitcoin, this is the URL of the blockchain transaction, stolen and sent to this address with the transaction hash ID of here. All this detail I will put in on the detail of the YouTube page. I know the chance of getting back this stolen Bitcoin are 0. I hope this will serve as a record so that in the future maybe we can trace to the thief who actually steal the Bitcoin. This also serves as a Bitcoin bounty. If anyone is able to trace it and leads to the recovery of the Bitcoin, I would like to pay the person 15% of the recovered Bitcoin.